Uh, Normally I don't make videos in between the day unless it is like kind of important, or I have this moment of creative thought or something. What has happened is the number of people inquiring about Dubai has increased again. I guess maybe because of the the COVID restrictions are kind of fluctuating up and down, or people are fed up of being locked in and they definitely want to make some changes. I think on the other hand, there is also a sizable population, one that is stuck in India, the other one that is stuck in UAE. So the people in UAE want to survive somehow. The people who are stuck in India are waiting when June 30th they can leave. And then, yes, there are people from other parts of the world who also are looking to move out from their country because there's no employment or jobs are slow. Unless, of course, you're in US where there's a surge in jobs. At least that's what they say in the papers. So I just prepared the list of 5 FAQs that job seekers have been asking me. Okay, so these are the top 5 which have been asked in these past few months. So if there are any more questions that you still have about UAE in terms of the job market, feel free to mention it down below. Okay, so in no particular order, these are the 5 questions. The timestamp and the questions are in the description. The first one is it the right time to go and seek a job? Okay, I understand why people ask me this question. Like, it obviously makes no sense if you go to a particular place and the timing is wrong. Let's say, for example, you go to UAE is an Arab Muslim country. So if you go during Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, which is holy for Arab Muslims, they work lesser number of hours, the decision makers, at least the Arabs. And then everyone is in a mad rush to go to office fast and leave office. Generally, they leave at 6 or they leave at 7. But now people are leaving their offices at 2 o'clock, half day, So when you work only half day, you cannot get many things done. And that is why employing new people is one of the last things what they'll be looking at. So unless it is Ramadan or you're talking of New Year or, a festival. So the general months like Ramadan and Eid and the important festivals, the big ones, I would say apart from that, most of the other timings are generally good enough for you to go. The only other exception I would have is, let's say you're talking of the summer months, that is the summer holidays, which I think is July or August or June, July. I'm not too familiar. The school, when the schools have holiday, if you remember, just put it. Summer months, June, July, August, these are the peak summer months where all the schools close and people are taking their children and going back home for a holiday. So where the population is reducing. So that can be the only exception. But otherwise, minus Ramadan and Eid and New Year, I would say generally you can go any time of the year, and they're always looking out for new people. Okay, but having said that, don't expect there is this magic time where yes, they are going to employ more people now or less people. Like I told you, during New Year, maybe December 20th, they will stop the hiring process or they'll not focus much into it. And January, the first 2 weeks of the new year. But apart from that, I would say, you need to do what you have to do. Don't bother about, is it the right time, wrong time? Because the more you try, the better your chances of getting a job, which I've always told you. The second question that people ask, second question is, Loy, what do the employers look for? And I kind of find this question silly because, it's common sense. It's like, what does a man look for in a woman? Or what does a woman look for in a man? These are very generic statements. So what does an employer look for in an employee? Obviously value, because you're giving a salary and you're expecting value. So, but then I guess people ask me this question based on what is it that I need to show or communicate so that I'm differentiated between the other people. I think my answer over here is a little bit of self-reflection which you need to do. What makes you stand out in a crowded marketplace, which is personal branding basically, 101. Let's say there are 5 mechanical engineers. All 5 have different years of experience. All 5 have experience in different projects. All 5 have different countries that they work with, or companies or brands that they work with. So now the question is, you particularly, what makes you stand out? If your answer is just number of years, so if you say 5, other guy will say 7. So obviously if you go number of years, that guy is better than you. If you say I worked for $100 million project, the guy who says 500 million is considered better. So the art and skill is to come up with something that makes you stand out. I can give you my example because I obviously don't want to take other people's personal examples. Now, what I do, resume rebranding, basically everyone does. There are so many people online. You can get people who do it on Fiverr for $5. There are, service providers who do it for $50. Monster Job, Gulf Jobs, all these people, they do it for $100 or, So I'm one of the most expensive ones. In fact, I've even come to know that there are people in the UK who do it. They have a professional company, hi-fi, like I'm still more expensive than them. I know this because I had a UK client. But what makes me stand out is my uniqueness. And I have worked many, many years to communicate this uniqueness to my target audience. And, over a period of time, you kind of learn. So the shortcut answer that I can give you is find out, ask yourself, what makes me stand out? What are the skills, traits? And please, just one small request is don't say hardworking and focused and honest. And you would have to come up with something more original than that. Because anyone can say, oh, I'm hardworking. Because when I used to take interviews, if a guy said I'm hardworking, so I would be like, okay, this is you presuming that none of the other guys work hard, only you work hard. And how do you measure honesty? How do you measure honesty? So the challenge is to ask a very tough question. What makes me? Because if you don't know the answer, the employee will never know the answer. And remember, human nature, just as all of us are searching for the best deal in town, the best discount or the best bargain offer, employers also look for value. So it's not like, oh, he asked me the cheapest salary, so I took him. So I can take 3-4 guys with the cheapest salary. No. Some of them really want value. So focus on what makes you stand out. Okay. Number 3 is, Loy, I applied, but I'm not getting any response. Okay. Now over here, there are only 2 possibilities. Okay. One is 2 or 3 possibilities. One is your resume sucks. Because remember this one, when you're applying, what is communicating your services to them is your brochure or your business profile or your resume. So if that document is not communicating what has to be communicated intelligently, most probably you'll not get called. And the very fact that your profile does not attract any decision maker means something is wrong in your profile. Now, in my experience, I've also realized sometimes people who overhype their profile overly. Okay? Oh, I'm so great. You won't believe people who have been managers, who should be managers, are marketing themselves as chief operating officers, regional directors and CFOs and CEOs. I tell them, listen, boss, you're fooling people and people will not fall for this. Don't oversell yourself, don't overhype yourself. And yes, obviously, you should not undersell, but don't make yourself look like God's gift to mankind. People don't fall for it. Okay? So then the next one is maybe that industry is in decline. Like right now, the banking industry is in a very bad decline. The travel industry nearly shut down. The tourism industry, nothing much happening. So if your industry is bad, then you need to check other options. And last but not the least, I would say maybe your strategy is wrong. Sending mass emails and expecting people to respond, that is old-fashioned. It doesn't work anymore. Just sending unsolicited emails. I get so many messages, emails, I just delete them. So you need to figure out a smart, intelligent way how to get your message across. And that is what I sit down and analyze with my clients. I ask them, what did you do? How did you go about? I study that and then we come up with a solution. If you use a little bit of common sense here, you'll realize, okay, if email is not working, what are the options? You write it down, you start experimenting and implementing that. But like I said, the thumb rule or the basic standard is your resume sucks. Because remember, when they get 10, 20 resumes on the table, they have few seconds to look and decide, okay, I feel this. So your resume has to jump out. And just by putting a pink color with a neon yellow background, I've seen this, people have done this. It might shine and look amazing. It's not going to give you the job. Because remember, it's a content that makes the decision process for inviting you to be interviewed by the person of authority. Question number 4. Lloyd, what is the best salary to ask? I think this is very common with people coming from a different country to UAE. Especially, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. They're like, Lloyd, what is the best salary? Because they want the highest salary. And I think the mistake people make is, some people, not all, they can ask 10 times more. Or they assume, okay, UAE, the standard of living is very high. I can ask very, very high salaries. If that was the correct logic, then going to go to United States, you should ask the highest, right? But then why United States, if it's ready to pay the highest, why do they outsource jobs? See, people are not stupid. In today's day and age of the internet and social media, an employer is very aware of what are the prevailing rates in the market. So whatever salary you are getting at the moment is the prevailing rate which is there in your country. And people will be aware of the fact that that is the rate that has to be paid. But obviously when you come down to a foreign country, it'll increase based on the standards. And if you're there in countries like Canada and the Western countries where they follow standard and protocol, it'll be based on the standards. Okay, and multinational companies have their grading system like Emirates or Petrofac, or they have particular grades and pay you based on what grade was agreed for you. So what salary can you ask? Well, if it's a multinational, you cannot bargain. They have their standard. But if it is other companies, I would just say the best way to go about this is speak to people who are in the same line of work. Okay? But please do not get fooled by if your colleagues or your friends or whatever are getting very high salaries, you'll get it. No, in some cases, it is maybe they are smarter than you, they are better than you, or they have been in the country longer than you, they can demand higher. You being a fresher or you being new, they're going to pay you that because you're raw between the ears. They're going to give you that. And last, if not the least, how do I know if a company is legit or not, or the offer is real? Now, this seems to be a big problem, which not only scammers and fraudsters and fraudulent companies are doing. They actually painfully make you, they take a lot of trouble to go through the process of sending you emails, sending you offers, then having a interview session, Skype or Zoom. Then after that, second interview, third interview, finally giving you a letter of offer. And then people ask, Loy, I've signed this, and is this legit? Now, in my personal experience, I can tell you, having dealt with so many people, the first sign that this is a fraudulent offer is when they ask you money for processing. There is no such thing as give the money for processing the document. That is number one. Okay, so the first red flag is if they ask you money for processing. The second red flag is if they give you a big brand, multinational brand, or a really big brand of UAE, but they have not met you physically, and they are the brand. Most probably it's fake, because these big brands, they either ask you to come physically to the office, or if it is a recruitment agency on behalf of this, they would have a proper procedure in place. Remember this much, there are a lot of legit companies, legit in the sense they have a proper company in their country, back home or wherever. They bring people to the foreign country and then they dump them and leave them. Be very careful. And if you get a letter of offer from a major brand signed by the senior manager, GM or something, and they have not met you physically, 99.9% it is fake. I've seen letters of offers from Emirates Airlines, Majid Al Futtaim, Al Futtaim. So what is the solution here? Contact the landline from the website, the proper website, without informing these people, and find out the name of the person who is there. Find out through the secretary, has he sent, is it legit? Check the email address. It has to be official name of the company.com, or if it is UAE, it has to be the same website. It has to be dot whatever, AE, what is stated there. And there are also ways to find out through LinkedIn, provided you have a decent enough profile where someone would take the trouble to respond. And one last red flag over here is if the offer is too good to be true. If it's so good, if it's so amazing, like, wow, your problems are all going to be solved, that is a massive red flag to know that this is fake. So these are the 5 questions that people have asked me with regards to getting jobs in UAE. And if any of the questions that I've covered in this have helped you, let me know. And if there are questions that I've not covered, but you believe I should cover, state that. So maybe in the next video, I'll make another top 5 questions people ask. But having said all this, I just wanted to tell you that, you know, getting a job, getting a new job is a job in itself. It's never easy. It's never fun. It's not going to be a straightforward process. And the only reason why people like me exist is because we identify the loopholes in the system or through the data that you provide us, and we try to figure out a way how, you know, a person like me, how I can help you best circumvent all these hurdles and achieve success. Because end of the day, there is no one size fits all. And like I always tell people, if getting a job was as simple as going online, putting your CV, paying some money, and getting a phone call and being confirmed, the whole world would have done that. And people like me would never be able to offer the services we are offering. So I hope this added some value. Share it with anyone you feel will help them. Put your comments, thoughts down below. And yeah, if you like the video, always good to have a like. YouTube likes that. This is me signing off. You guys take care. Okay? Ciao.